Are your learning strategies ready for the AI era? Artificial intelligence is now writing reports, generating training content, simulating conversations, and even coaching professionals in real time. So here's the real question. Do we need entirely new learning theories for this new reality? Or do the ones we already trust simply need to evolve? Because while AI may be changing the tools we use, it hasn't changed one fundamental truth. Learning still happens inside a human brain, and no algorithm can upload knowledge directly into it. Hello and welcome to the L&D Academy's channel, where we talk about all things learning and development. My name is Irina, and today we're exploring the future of learning and how established adult learning theories are adapting to the rise of AI. What AI actually changes and what it doesn't. Now, before we dive into theory, let's clarify something important. AI doesn't replace learning. It changes how quickly we access information, how we practice skills, how we receive feedback, how personalized learning becomes. But it doesn't remove cognitive effort, reflection, practice, or motivation. You can ask an AI system to explain leadership frameworks in seconds. You can generate case studies instantly, and you can simulate difficult conversations in real time, but understanding still requires thinking. Skill still requires repetition, and growth still requires reflection. AI can't funnel knowledge into your head. That would have been awesome. But it can change the process. And that's where adult learning theories become more relevant, not less. Let's start with andragogy. As Malcolm Knowles suggested, adults want autonomy, relevance, to build on their prior experience and knowledge, and are usually internally motivated. Now, think about what AI enables. Imagine an adult learner preparing for a leadership workshop. Instead of passively attending a generic session, they open up an AI assistant and say, I manage a team of 5 remote employees struggling with accountability. Give me a realistic scenario that I might face. The system generates one, they refine it, they test responses, they ask follow up questions, they request alternate approaches. That's not replacing andragogy, that's amplifying it. The learner is directing the learning. The content is immediately relevant, experience is being simulated and reflected upon in real time. AI becomes a responsive co thinker. But notice something important. The learner still has to ask good questions. They still have to evaluate the responses they receive, and they still have to decide what makes sense in their context. Autonomy increases, but responsibility increases too. Now, let's look at experiential learning. David Kolb's cycle reminds us that learning happens through concrete experience, reflection, conceptualization, and active experimentation. Now, traditionally, creating realistic experiences required role plays, case studies, and usually in person workshops. But AI can now expand this dramatically. Imagine a customer services representative practicing de escalation. They interact with an AI powered simulation that responds dynamically. If they respond, say, defensively, the customer escalates. If they respond empathetically, the tension decreases. Afterward, the learner asks, why did that response work better? They reflect, they test again, they refine. The cycle speeds up. But here's the key, experience still matters, reflection still matters. AI can simulate the experience, but it cannot reflect for you. It can suggest insights, sure, but insights only become learning when the human processes it. In other words, the gym equipment got better, but you still have to lift the weights. Self directed learning has always been the solo backpacking trip of education. The learner basically identifies their goals, finds resources, and moves at their own pace. Now, in the past, this meant searching for articles, books, courses, videos, resources, but now an intelligent system can curate resources, generate explanations, adapt examples, and provide instant clarification. Imagine someone learning instructional design. Instead of reading static material, they ask, explain, say, Bloom's taxonomy using corporate onboarding examples. Then, now challenge me with a scenario where applying it is difficult, and then critique my approach. The learning becomes interactive, adaptive, iterative. But here's the catch, AI lowers the barrier to entry. It does not remove the need for discipline. Self directed learning still requires goal clarity, consistency, critical thinking. AI makes wondering easier. It does not make mastery automatic, though. If you're curious about what these adult learning theories are that I'm talking about, we actually have a comprehensive two-part video series that you can check out the links down in the description. Transformational learning, introduced by Jack Mesereau, is not about acquiring knowledge. It's about shifting perspectives, challenging assumptions, and reframing identity. Now, imagine an AI tool that questions your reasoning, offers alternative viewpoints, simulates opposing perspectives, and exposes your blind spots. It sounds powerful, and it is. For example, during leadership development, a manager might say, challenge my approach to giving feedback. The AI highlights cognitive biases, suggests alternative interpretations, presents contrasting cultural perspectives. This can trigger reflection. But here's the critical point: AI can provoke dissonance, but it cannot integrate meaning. Transformation requires discomfort, reflection, emotional processing, and ultimately a human decision to change. AI may accelerate exposure, but growth still requires courage. Action learning emphasizes solving real problems in real time. Traditionally, teams gather, questions assumptions, implement solutions, and reflect together. Now, AI enters the chat room. Imagine a cross functional team tackling declining sales. They use AI to analyze customer data, identify patterns, generate hypotheses, model possible strategies. Decision making speeds up, information gaps shrink. But there is a risk. If AI becomes the dominant voice, teams may outsource critical thinking altogether. Now, the purpose of action learning isn't just solving the problem, it's developing the thinkers, the learners. AI can inform action, but reflection, dialogue, and shared accountability must remain human centered. Otherwise, learning becomes optimization, not development. Behaviorism taught us that behavior is shaped by reinforcement. And in the AI era, reinforcement becomes intelligent. Algorithms track completion rates, engagement patterns, performance metrics, and they nudge behavior accordingly. Through reminders, gamified streaks, personalized prompts, all of this can increase consistency, but it also raises a powerful question. Are we building disciplined learners or dependent responders? External reinforcement works, but adult learning thrives on intrinsic motivation. If every action is prompted, suggested, or optimized by AI, we may weaken the very autonomy we claim to support. There's a growing fear that AI will replace thinking, but adult learning has never been about information alone. It's about meaning, judgment, context, integration. AI can generate 50 ideas in seconds, but choosing the right one, that's human work. AI can simulate conversations, but embodying empathy, that's human work. AI can summarize knowledge, but building wisdom, that takes time and human work. The future of learning isn't artificial, it's augmented. So, can adult learning theories survive AI? Not only can they survive, they may become even more powerful because AI enhances autonomy, accelerates experimentation, expands access, but it still relies on the same foundations: effort, reflection, practice, and most importantly, human meaning making. Perhaps the greatest danger is not replacement, it's illusion. When AI generates summaries instantly, when it drafts responses, when it structures ideas, we may feel productive. But feeling productive is not the same as learning. Reading an AI explanation is not the same as grappling with complexity. Editing AI output is not the same as constructing understanding. Cognitive effort is not a bug, it is the mechanism of growth. Remove too much friction and you remove depth. If this series gave you new perspectives, let us know in the comments. What excites you most about AI and L&D, and what concerns you? If you enjoyed this discussion, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing so we can continue exploring where theory meets technology. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.